All right, GBA Nation, welcome back to another episode of the GBA Show, Season 2, Episode 5 tonight. Very excited with our guest joining us tonight. And once again, we're joined by Jeff Ferguson, owner of GBA Basketball. How are we doing, Jeff?
Good. Just working remotely, getting things ready to roll. Season will be here before we know it. Making contacts, several meetings this week, and we're getting ready to roll.
Yep. As Jeff said, we're still taping from home offices right now. Hopefully, we'll have our updated studio and stuff up and running here in the next week or so. But again, as I said, episode 5. We got a special guest, Jason Mongol with the Ohio Crush program. Jason's been around for a few years. Has been a loyal supporter of GBA basketball. Does a fantastic job with his program with the kids. So we're happy to have Jason on the show and a part of GBA Nation. So with that being said, let's bring Jason in. Hey, Jason, how we doing?
Good, guys. How are you doing?
Good.
More snow.
Yeah, it's snowing here right now, actually.
Yeah. We'll be back in the gym soon. I guess how's things going with you?
Oh, everything's going good. My youngest daughter just finished up her 7th grade season, and Allie's got 2 more games, and then they're off to sectionals. So
awesome.
Things are starting to wind down a little bit.
Good. Yeah. Well, let's talk. You want to talk? You want to go ahead, John, or want me to do it? You want to start off?
Yeah. First, Jason, let's, for the listeners out there, let's just kind of give them a little bit of background on you and the Ohio Crush program before we kind of get into the meat and bones of everything.
Okay. We started the Ohio Crush 4.5 years ago. We did it because we kind of wanted a little different flavor for travel basketball, AAU, whatever we want to call it. We want to be a little bit more fundamental based. We did it a lot for our daughter's teammates, Corey and myself. And over time, it just built up. We wanted to make kids better basketball players, not necessarily win trophies and plaques, which we've done a little bit of, but if we'd have probably taken a different stance, we'd have done more. But from everything we've seen with the development of the kids, my youngest daughter's 7th grade team made all the difference in the world. We took them all 10, kind of mixed them around, and it just works. So we wanted to also not base everything off finances. We don't make a dime of profit off this. The kids, if they're playing 10 tournaments, we divide it up amongst however many kids, and that's what they pay, and of course cost the uniform. So it was just kind of something we felt pretty passionate about. We want to give girls more access to the game, not just your elite level player. We just feel it doesn't to say in the 5th, 6th, 7th grade what elite is. Boy, you're taking a big gamble. So we wanted to steer clear of that.
Right. And just kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it started with you guys there in the Washington Courthouse School District with the Little Lady Lions program, and you kind of brought those kids up, and then as you guys kind of grew your organization.
No, that's correct. Sean Walker and Tony Jenkins brought us into the Little Lady Lions when Allie was in the 4th grade. So that was 6 years ago. So we kind of, got our teeth into that, and then we morphed off into the Ohio Crush while still being part of Little Lady Lions. So our whole goal was, 1, to get kids better. 2, it was predominantly for Lady Lions basketball in Washington Courthouse. We have a lot of other kids from competing districts in because it's about basketball. It's about making them better. So, it just became a really strong urge. We coached together for a while. Corey had the 6th Allie's group and Kendall's, and I took Karis and Megan's, and we just kind of were off to the races.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. I mean, you want to help, obviously everybody helps their own kids first, but it's the opportunity, what you're giving for the other kids in the area is a huge asset. And I'm sure the other coaches and the other programs really appreciate what you do for them. But and you hit the nail on the head with with not necessarily the top or the the elite. What is elite? But and that's the reason we started GBA 20 years ago. We wanted to get as many kids playing the game as possible. We wanted to give those kids that maybe aren't a starter, that are 7th or 8th girl, and try to give them a chance to, to get better in the spring and summer months and develop and be able to be in the starting lineup. Or maybe a girl that maybe is borderline making the team, give her a chance to play. And I know we talked about that earlier off the air, but, doing the same thing. You want as many girls playing as possible, and we want to grow the game. Yes. And, continue to grow the game. And, and it's sad when you see that, that the JV teams are only playing 2 quarters because they don't have enough girls. So, we want to continue to do what we're doing. And it seems like, there's a lot more opportunities for tournaments, but I don't know, exactly what the answer is to get the kids back in playing more and get them back in the gym. But obviously we want a chance, and it's a great opportunity for your club, for what you do for your area. Maybe talk about a little bit about the area. Where does a lot of the kids come from?
A lot of our kids come from, of course, Washington Courthouse, Miami Trace, Hillsborough, East Clinton, Fairfield, North Adams, Blanchester. I want to make sure I don't leave anyone out because Huntington.
So you have a wide variety of different.
Yeah, we've really started to kind of spider web out. I think the more people get to know our program, they know what the purpose is. I mean, I'm the ultimate competitor. I hate to lose if we're pitching pennies against the wall. But at the end of the day, to feed back towards what you talked about getting the numbers up in girls basketball, one has to start with their youth program, which Sean and Tony in Washington Courthouse started probably the best youth basketball program I have seen to date. And, of course, we got to learn from them and be part of it. But it's got to be fun there. And then, the varsity coaches, they need to focus on their middle school program. Their middle school program's the feeder for the high school program. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of the reserve numbers low. Kids kind of get pigeonholed in, well, I'm not going to get playing time. I'm just going to be stuck in this little cubby hole. And you got to have that talk with them. Hey, this is your role now. That may change. By the time you're a freshman, you might be 6 foot tall. I mean, you don't know what a kid's going to develop into. And that's the discussion we've had with the class of 2026 here in Courthouse for the last 3 years. Don't focus on your role now. The process is getting to where you want to be and then accepting that role. And that it's just, there's a way to have the conversation and there's a way not to. And I think some of it is they just don't have it. And then kids, they're only going to put in so much time if you don't give them a reason to put in the time.
Exactly. There's so many reasons why, they don't play, whether it's, they don't like another girl on the team, or maybe the coach, or they think the coach said something that don't like them. It's crazy how many kids you can lose in junior high to the sport. And, and how many kids develop early in junior high. And by the time they get to high school, like, we've coached in the junior high level and, with some good teams at Cambridge and different things. But so many of those kids you see are not the kids you see playing at the high school level. The best kids in junior high are not the best kids in high school. But, it's because they're working at it. And, kids grow faster than others. And they need to keep working. So, I mean, we want to keep, I hate when they say, well, the junior high is for, supplement for teachers. Well, if the teacher knows basketball, that's great. But if they don't, then I don't think they should be there. And I mean, as long as the person checks out and is a good person and could coach basketball, I think that's who needs to be in there. Because if it's my program, that's what I would want. Somebody that's getting the most people involved, and just like you do with your program, and, getting as many kids and girls out as you can to play, because you just never know when they're going to develop and grow 6 inches or, whatever. It doesn't matter, or improve their game. And just makes a huge difference.
Well, it's about giving them an opportunity. It's just like in youth basketball. There's a lot of dads that coach in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, but there has to be a can system. That's what we did really well in the Little Lady Lions. Here's your practice plan. The first 35 minutes, this is what you do. It It is the basketball Bible. It's got to be nothing but fundamentals, and they get caught up in they got to have 5, 6, 7 offensive plays, 3 or 4 inbounds plays. You're dealing with 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade girls. Their attention span, it's just not going to work. I mean, you should be able to have a couple plays off 2 sets, a couple inbounds plays, and then get it and go. And I think they get caught up too much in the minutia of what they read online, and they got to have a ton of plays, and they just forget the basic game of basketball.
Yeah, and you only know what you've been taught. So,
right.
That's the thing. So if you're not around basketball people, you're not going to, find it online or watching TV or whatever you're doing. So, you have to understand why. And it's some of the successful, high school coaches that you see are, the girls know why they're doing what they're doing, not just that they're running this set thing. They know why they're doing what they're doing, and they're playing the game. So,
that's what makes the GBA special. You're able to get multiple teams in. The games are structured really well. You don't deal with a lot of headaches, or we haven't experienced any. And it allows you to get kids playing competitively while still developing their game. And that's probably what frustrates me the most with the OHSAA, because you want to limit a program like ours to 2 per school when we hit the 7th grade, which is fine. We'll abide by whatever rules there are. But you got to understand, we're pulling from school districts that, their basketball programs might have 20 kids in it. And, they're 200-300 in the school versus you branch out into Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus. You're pulling from 25 schools. You've got 70 basketball players to pull from. And our goal is to keep Courthouse kids playing and the Miami Trace kids playing. And when you start limiting by numbers, it just – I can't buy into that program. And I've had the discussion a couple years ago. We don't want more than 2 per school because it allows you to recruit. Well, if I've got a good relationship with my high school basketball coach and you're allowing me to pull 2 of the top 5 from all the districts that are near ours, well, it's a recruiting dream.
Right.
I'm now able to form relationships with the parents, the kids. I'm able to say, hey, coach, we really need to look at this shooting guard. She's exceptional. She's playing at a high level. Let's see what we can do here. If I've got 6 Courthouse kids, who am I going to recruit? Well,
right.
I mean, we've seen this. So the logic, soccer you can have 5, volleyball you can have 3. The states butting up to Ohio, with the exception of Michigan, I believe, you can have your whole team.
Correct.
Well, it gives you the ability to. I'll use our 7th grade team this year as an example. When they were in the 5th grade, because we didn't get to play last year, I got to keep reminding myself that season, they ran away with the league. They got in the tournaments. I think they got a couple seconds. Couldn't get over the hump in the tournaments because we ran out of gas. And the other players other than the starting 5 hadn't quite developed yet because it was only their 2nd year of basketball, and the other ones have been playing since the 2nd grade. Well, we took them all out on the road. We built a 2nd, 5th grade team at that time, gave them the opportunity to play at a higher level, gave them the opportunity not to be with the starters. They had to figure their way out of trouble. The best decision we made, hands down, because the following year, the 6th grade year, we could run whatever lineup we wanted to run. I think it gave the girls confidence. It also increased their ability because they were able to play basketball for a longer period of time. It put them in different situations. And that's what we're hoping to do again this year, assuming we can work something out with, Ohio, or hopefully they don't put the rule back in like they did last year because of COVID. So there's just so many variables, and there's so many beneficial things that come from it. And like I said I hate to use the word, but I really look at it as it's kind of discriminatory. You're telling a child because she's lesser ability in the 7th grade that, they may not be able to make another program right now. when they're in the 8th grade or 9th grade, that could totally change. Bodies could change. They put in a ton of work in the off season. So right now you're telling them your basketball career is over until fall or June 1st, whatever comes. I just don't like that. I think every kid should have the opportunity to play basketball. Coach is going to recruit regardless. It happens. We're not blind to it.
Right.
So
it's there.
I think the more kids you can keep playing basketball, and it gets disheartening when my teammates are playing, but I can't play now.
Right.
I hate playing that to a 12, 13-year-old girl.
Well, and it goes back to, I think that's where we're losing kids. You're exactly right. And what you say, that's where you're losing kids, because then, like you say, you can only take maybe the 2 kids from each school, and more than likely it's probably the better ones on the team. And then those kids that are kind of left out, they go off, do something else, and they just lose interest. And like you said, they may not see basketball again until the fall. So that's exactly where we're losing kids. And I agree with you 100% on that.
So we're going to do everything within our power to prevent that from happening this year, even if we've got to schedule scrimmages, which still got to be a gray area, because if I do it under Ohio Crush, I can't have more than 2 in a gym, and the rules are just
right
mind-boggling. But we're going to keep them playing one way or the other.
Good. Now, speaking of that, Jason, let's go back. We only ran the one tournament weekend that we did. Before we start talking about your tryouts in 21 real quick, let's go back to 2020 last year.
Mm-hmm.
You did something kind of neat. I mean, we was in communication a lot, and
right.
You ended up not going to tournaments, went to a few scrimmages or whatever you may have done.
Mm-hmm.
What did you offer the kids? Why don't you explain to the people what you offered the kids, what you did, who you had in there working with them, some training, some other things that you came up with that was kind of unique in what you did?
Well, the first thing we needed to do, and the Washington City School District has been wonderful to our program, but during COVID, I understand their stance. You can't have people in the gym. Totally understood. So we were able to source out a facility that we've done a long-term lease on. And from that point, we had as many as the kids that wanted to come, at least a couple days a week. A lot of times we were there 4 or 5. We brought in Brandy Hoskins, who started doing training with our girls, which was a blessing. They can hear it from myself or Corey or Dustin or the other dads, and it just doesn't quite carry the weight of a female athlete that's done it at every level they inspire to do it at.
Former McDonald's All-American,
Mm-hmm.
From Dayton, Ohio, McDonald's All-American, High State, drafted in WNBA, had some problems, played overseas, had some problems with her knees, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Knees,
so,
Achilles.
yeah, so if somebody's watching and don't know who Brandy Hoskins is, you could look her up. Pretty good player.
Yeah, I'd say she might have been above average.
Yeah. Okay, so you did some training with her and with your coaches as well. And then did you have anybody else in?
Dustin Pfeiffer, who's he's pretty much become one of the lead guys in the program. He worked a lot with our older kids, kept them involved, kept them engaged, kept them in the gym. Because these kids were chomping at the bit. They wanted to play basketball, and all of a sudden the rug got pulled out from under them. And what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? So we, like I said, once we got the facility, it was easy what we were going to do. Did a little bit of scrimmaging. Went and traveled to a couple other programs and played, and just made sure we kept a ball in their hand. Missing a year is what I would consider it. You're going to miss spring, going to miss summer. It would just be deadly.
And you talk about bringing Dustin, and Dustin's played at all those levels as well. He was a very good player, played at Finley, and then went and played overseas.
Yeah, so, he was, and still can play the game pretty well, at this point. And just the way he can interact with the kids, and they know his bio. They know Finley Hall of Famer. Of course, at some point will be in Courthouse's Hall of Fame, I would hope. He's just real good with the kids. Same with Brandy. Like I said, you bring that type of knowledge in, and they just take it to a whole nother level. as far as what you're going to offer kids. And, what they're doing is not for every kid. You got to start at the basics, but they do a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Could have been blessed more.
Yeah, so you definitely not playing in tournaments and not doing things. You still got them in the gym, got them the training that they need, and and went and played some scrimmages. And I know you went to Cincinnati a couple times and whatever. And under the COVID rules, you could do some scrimmaging with limited people, so that was great. And so the girls still got something out of it, and they definitely improved.
Yeah, we put another little caveat into the program. Brandon Ellers did with at that point, it was our 6th grade team. We brought in just some speed and agility training. We took 20 minutes before every practice and did it. And it was within 3 weeks, it was unbelievable what it did. So we did a little bit of that this summer. And then we're getting ready to roll out a whole speed and agility program. We're going to have pretty much everything you need to do it. Brandon ran track. He's got great knowledge of it with some of Dustin's knowledge. And, we're going to offer it to kids, and kids in the program are going to pay a dime.
That's great.
And we just want to do as much for these kids as we can. Yep. And the key is keeping a basketball in their hand. I don't buy the whole burnout rate. When they don't want to be there, they're not going to come. They're not going to be there. And that's one thing we don't have a problem with, regardless of the grade. If we tell them we're opening up the gym, how fast can they get there? When are we doing it again? And I think that's what people fail to understand. It's not the burnout rate. I'll go right back to when they get to the point where we got to be 2 per school rule. It crushes them. They don't understand. And it ties guys like my hands, unless, like I said, I haven't heard the rules been put back in this year, but you got to operate under the assumption it is, because then you create a whole nother subset of problems. But it's just something that might have been useful in the 80s, but it needs to go away.
Agree, 100%.
Yeah.
Or if you get caught doing that, your program's done. You're not allowed to coach anymore. It's simple. Yeah. You got to have rules and regulations. You also have to look at the size of the area. Again, I'll go right back to that. The pool we're pulling from is an 1/8 of what it is in Columbus. It's an 1/8 of Dayton, Cincinnati. So you got to be reasonable. You got to be intelligent.
Agree, 100%. So that was a great opportunity. You kept the kids, you kept the ball in their hands. You got them in the gym. So now, fast forward. Now we're looking at 2021 season, getting things ready. I know you got some upcoming tryouts. Can you let everybody to kind of know about that and maybe what grade levels you have and what they can expect with tryouts coming up?
Well, our first tryout's gonna be this Sunday. It'll be at the Washington Middle School. We're gonna have a couple of different times. We'll do 4th, 5th, and 6th grade from 3 to 3:45, and then we'll go 7th and 8th after that. And basically, we're going to put them through some ball handling drills, do a little bit of 2-on-2, kind of look at not necessarily the basketball skill set, what's the athlete skill set. Basketball is going to factor into it, especially once you hit the 7th and 8th grade level. That's more kind of where you got to be able to compete. And just give them an opportunity to see what they can do, explain to them kind of what it's about, the way we go about it. But they'll go through the standard drills that you go through in a tryout, and then play a little bit of basketball. And the coaches and I'll talk afterwards, and then we'll get back to them. It's a shame the parents can't come into the tryout this Saturday, but to kind of stay with school policy, they want to limit the numbers, so we're definitely grateful to have it. And then the following Saturday at noon is going to be at our gym. Parents will be welcome there with a mask, and we'll go through the same process again. We had some kids that can't make the first one, and then we'll go on to the high school. But until they're really done with tournaments, we're hands off. That's part of the rules. Stay away. So, we want to do that, and then we'll fire the high school up. I'm guessing probably around the 20th, 21st. We'll just kind of have to see how the tournaments play out.
Sure.
Right.
Now, if somebody's wanting information for your High Crush program, where can they find that, Jason?
They can find it on Facebook. We're posting it daily.
Okay.
It should go over to Twitter as well. If not, I'll get some stuff on there this evening. Of course, my cell phone number is on there and email. So any questions they would have, we'll be more than happy to answer.
And I'll make sure when this video goes up, we'll get that. This will probably post later tonight or tomorrow. We'll have that information on there for them as well when we post this. So
we really appreciate that. I mean, you guys have a big footprint in social media, and it helps get information out there.
I tell you, brother, we definitely appreciate, especially we're humbled, and from last year not being able to be in the gym, and like I said, we meet so many good people through this. Doing this for so long, and to see people don't realize in your area, how lucky they are to have somebody, like you that runs the Crush program that gives the chances to have a former WNBA or McDonald's All-American WNBA player, high state player coming in and training your fourth graders, fifth graders, sixth graders, and Dustin playing at Finley and an All-American and overseas. I mean, to have those type of people available and bringing in for your kids. I mean, when we was growing up, I mean, we was lucky to play at the outdoor courts. We didn't have that stuff. So it was awesome. Right. So you're be commended. You guys are continue to grow each year and do a great job. And we appreciate the support you give myself and John and our whole staff and families. And because we put our heart and soul into this, and this is a small family ran business. And we definitely appreciate the support.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity. Like I said, when in our infancy stages, we tried a couple other tournaments, and we decided real fast it was not for us. I mean, whenever I need to move a game around or switch venues because of certain situations, John's always taken amazing care of us.
Yeah.
Probably a couple of times when we were first getting started, he's probably pulling his hair like, "What's this guy doing?" It's fun. I mean, being around the girls, especially when you have daughters in the program, you don't get these years back. It gives you time with them, relationships with their buddies, and they form buddies from other school districts that they probably would never have an opportunity to. And of course, with social media now, they're TikToking or whatever kids do now.
Right.
They're having a good thing. So there's just various stages to what this is about. That's why I always tell parents to be careful when you're choosing a program. One, if you want your kid to play at the next level in college, big programs are great. Love them. They've created an inroad for us. But if you're not getting minutes in those programs, you're kind of defeating your purpose. And make sure it's a fit for you. Don't get caught up in reputations as far as they're big, they've got 10 12 teams, they got an A and a B. Find the best fit for your child. If your child really needs fundamental work, then I'd make sure that's what they're going to get in the program. I mean, that's going to be the key to ours until we wrap it up, whenever that will be. It's got to start there. Even your best players have to work on fundamentals, regardless of the level. So that would be where I'd caution people. And then look at the tournaments you're going to. Your tournaments are always – they're just great. Officiating's good. Anytime you have a question, there's multiple people there to get an answer. It's well-structured. You don't have games running 45, 50 minutes behind. And you're not playing 3 and 4 and 5 games in a day. To me, that's just too much basketball. You have kids get tired. Then you start getting the injuries that shouldn't happen.
Correct.
So, we thanks that you guys have kind of been there for our program, have given what you've given to girls basketball, given it a little different footprint than the AAU. It makes it more accessible for more girls and different skill levels. Not that the GBA is not competitive, because I've seen some teams in there that are pretty talented, and a lot of girls that have played GBA played in college. So it definitely works. But
that's exactly why we do it. Yeah, and that's why we do it. We don't have an ego. We don't need to be the best. We just want to get as many girls on the court as possible playing basketball. So we could get out for this two-quarter JVs and no freshman teams. We got to get them back in. And I think, like you said, you brought up a great point with the two kids playing, because that's a huge area. You know, that junior high level is that's where you lose a lot of the kids, and it's very crucial that we need to keep as many of them in the game playing as possible.
Well, our goal this year for 7th grade, that is the grade that we're looking for kids, because you can see kind of the banner on the wall with those young ladies. They all want to play, and we're going to make sure they play, whether we have to do 7th, 8th grade mix. Hopefully we can get 3 or 4 7th grade teams, which is a big reach.
We can put that out for you as well if you're looking for 7th graders as well, because it's maybe, you know, and it's a good fit. And it's not, you know, it's not just you're coming. If you're coming, try it, see if you like it. You may be surprised you come to a place to a team or to a location that maybe you said, oh, I don't want to go there. I don't know. Go try it. What does it hurt? It doesn't hurt nothing to go to your tryouts and go try it and see. You may find that the one that you didn't think you liked is the one that you really do like. So
yeah,
I
think the big thing that we do is we work around spring sports. You got to be a multiple sport athlete, unless you hit a certain point when you're a junior, and then maybe you got to reconsider some things. But you know, if they've got practice, they're not gonna be set out of games, or if they have a track meet or soccer, or, you know, whatever it would be. You know, school sports comes first, and we don't expect them to go from a school practice, then come to our practice, and they get home at 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's just doesn't make any sense. I mean, they're kids at the end of the day, so you know, definitely keep the kids involved and make sure they're playing multiple sports. You know, you never know what they're going to excel at. So,
well, Jason, we definitely appreciate it. Follow Ohio Crush Basketball on Facebook. Jason's information's on there. John will put all the links and everything and at the bottom of this video when it comes out tonight or tomorrow. And follow Ohio Crush, follow their tryouts. They do great work. Jason and his staff do a great job. So we appreciate you coming on, Jason.
I appreciate the opportunity, guys, and I appreciate what you do for girls basketball. And we look forward to seeing you here March 6th, the first weekend, isn't it?
Yep, it's coming up. Yep. We're very excited and happy to see you. So, Jason, thanks again for taking the time to join us tonight on the show. And like I said, we look forward to seeing you guys all very soon.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you guys as well.
Okay, take care.
All right, Jason Mongold, the High Crush program. They do a great job. Jason's a great guy. They're in it for the right reasons. They get to try to get as many kids playing as possible. And like I said, they've been great supporters of GBA basketball over the years. So.
I don't know if you could hear me, but you're breaking up.